So no adventure game sort of wrote the script or helped figure it out better than The Legend of Zelda, right? I mean, are there Zelda fans in the audience here? Yes. Zelda is an amazing brand and an amazing series because it makes you feel like you really explored a world. And when it's at its best, it does that better than any other game. So the question, as earlier, what Zelda game is better? The 2D Zeldas or the 3D Zeldas? Now, this is a big divisive one, so I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say.
They're getting angry.
How does Link Between Worlds?
That's 2D. So, just for context, 2D perspective, fixed perspective, not a perspective that will move around. When it moves around, it's a 3D perspective. It's like Ocarina of Time.
So all the handhelds are 2D, except for Ocarina 3D.
What about Spirit Tracks?
That's 3D.
Whoa.
Oh, no, it's 2D. It's 2D. Sorry, it's 2D.
That's 2D.
Yeah, all the handhelds except for Ocarina 3D are 2D.
Okay.
Right?
And Majora's.
I don't want to think about this. I want you guys to run with it.
Bleeding out my ear.
There's a 400-page guide under each of your chairs.
All right,
Don't actually look.
I'll start 3D for sure. And depending on the year, if you ask me what's your favorite game of all time, I always flip-flop between A Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. I love those two games. Obviously Ocarina. Are you okay? Ocarina owes a lot to Link to the Past, but that feeling that you get when you play that game for the first time, you just step into the open world, and like when you figure out that you can ride the horse, or when you go into that first temple and you look up or you look down and fall through the spiderweb, like it has all these amazing moments. And I feel like the 2D games always dazzle you with puzzles where you're moving something around, you feel like the smartest guy in the world because you're the only one who figured out that puzzle, right? And it's great, but it doesn't have that same sense of like just living an adventure. I really love that about Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, all those
ask you
games.
something about that. Did you play Ocarina first or Link to the Past?
Link to the Past.
So you did play that first? And you
and
still
that was my
liked Ocarina?
favorite game, bar none, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I played Link to the Past back in the day, a little bit, but then I played Ocarina. That kind of got me back into games after I stopped playing games for a little while, and it's my favorite game of all time besides Metroid Prime. Like, I think it's great. I would decide on, that's my favorite Zelda game, but people always like try to belittle that game to me now, and they're like, oh, it's just a remake of Link to the Past. It does all the same stuff. And when I went back and played Link to the Past again recently, I was like, it does do a lot of the same stuff. But does that matter? I don't think it matters to me. But I do hear people saying that as like a reason why Ocarina of Time isn't, the greatest Zelda game.
Yeah, look, I think all the Zelda games have that basic template, right? Like, young boy who doesn't know anything about the world goes out and then basically has to collect three MacGuffins.
But this has like two worlds
and then
also, and the
all
same
the
amount of
different
dungeons.
it has.
And
both
again,
games
I
have
would
that.
never make that argument, but it bums me out when I think about that now.
But, think about it. Majora's Mask has that too, right? You have three worlds, basically. Like, each day is like a different dimension in a way. So I think they all follow that template. I wouldn't just link those two together.
Link those two?
Link those two?
Yeah, you got it, Jose.
I got it too. Nice job.
Give me a point.
All right.
Thanks.
One, prepare.
So which one do you like better? Ocarina?
Oh, yeah. It's funny. I didn't play much Zelda until I played Ocarina. Like, I played a little bit of all of them. I just wasn't a Zelda kid. For some reason, I was like really into Mario, and I was like, I didn't like Zelda. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Really?
But that was good because I went back and got to play them all recently. In fact, I played The Legend of Zelda for the first time, start to finish, like, what was it, last year?
Yeah.
And I would come to work every day, and I'd be like, Brian, I don't know what to do next. I have this and this and this, and Brian would be like, go 3 screens over, burn this, and he just has that entire game in his brain.
I do.
It's really amazing.
There should be better things up there, but I don't need them up there. I want to know where each bomb and rupee is, and they're all just ingrained in my memory.
Forget your fiance's birthday.
No, I don't even know her name. I seriously just don't even know her name. But if you need like 100 rupees in that game, I can get it to you before you go in the first temple.
And
I'm sorry, honey.
I've heard you say before, The Legend of Zelda, the first one is like your favorite Zelda, right?
Yeah, totally.
That's
so
so cool.
that's why I like the 2D Zeldas. To me, actually my favorite Zelda game is Link's Awakening, which is like it's you and me, man.
It's because it's the only one that has Kirby.
Is that your fiance?
That's my fiance.
That's one with a chainsaw.
We're gonna go and play Link's Awakening tonight, you and me. But I feel like the 2D Zeldas just they've kind of consistently nailed it, and every single even with A Link Between Worlds, which just came out, it proves that you can still make games like that and they still work. And the 3D ones are great, but I feel like you could take a lot of the Zelda elements out of that and then be more just sort of I don't want to say it, but it would be just a generic action game if you strip down some of the Zelda stuff.
Pish posh.
Yeah, well, whatever. And I
Shot
like
you down.
I did. That was me shooting you down. So I like the 2D ones better. I think Link's Awakening's fantastic. I like how they're on handhelds. I like that I can bring them everywhere, which they started to do with Ocarina of Time for the first time. But even the weird ones like Zelda 2, people hate that game. I think it's really cool. I think it's hard, and I think if you hate that game, you should be better at video games.
I think they hated it. Nice. I think they hated it because it wasn't exactly the same.
Yes.
And in a way, I think that reception shaped really how people make sequels nowadays, right?
Yeah.
I think everybody's afraid to take a risk and really switch up the game systems and everything. That's the only RPG in the series, by the way. The second game is the only one with
By
kind of
IGN
traditional
standards.
RPG elements. Well, stats building and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
What about the CDI games?
So I think we've had this conversation before too. Like I love the original Legend of Zelda now, and I didn't have any love for it back in the day. And one of the reasons is that it has a quality that I like in games. Now that they're so rare, they're definitely not in Zelda games anymore. That you could just like venture out, you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
There's no,
exactly.
I don't
No
know,
hand-holding.
I don't necessarily. Yes, that's true. But I guess I'm talking about this sense of wonder and exploration in having a whole world to explore from the start. There's no areas that are like, you can't go in here yet, because you probably don't even know you can go in the dungeons
Or there are
yet.
areas like that, but they kill you rather than tell you.
Yes, exactly. The enemies are really hard. Like 3D Game Heroes actually did a really good job at simulating a Zelda game like that, where it's like you can go as far as you want towards the edge of the map. You can see this waterfall. You might even find something cool there, but you also might get killed.
And Link Between Worlds nailed that again. Like for me, I went and I played all the temples. Like I played the hardest one first, and I died immediately. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. But if I go and play Ocarina of Time, I hang out for like 10 minutes, and the fairy's like, yo, man, we gotta go talk to that tree. I'm like, I don't want to talk to the tree right now. I want to go look in the woods. No, we should go talk to the tree like right now.
Wait, was your fairy a guy? Was your fairy like a bookie?
I imported the game from a foreign land. It was a ROM hack.
Super quick question. So you Link Between Worlds was your game of the year last year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What about was it any of your guys? I know Jose, you were Mario.
No, I
right?
was Mario 3D World. Yeah.
Did you have Link Between Worlds as your game of the year?
No, Fire
Sam?
Emblem.
Fire Emblem. Fair.
No.
Okay.
So it was
That
just
doesn't-
me?
Okay, it was just there's a lot of games.
It's okay. You could be alone.
I was Fire Emblem 2.
Fire
No,
Emblem
seriously,
2,
Fire
the
Emblem,
original.
Fire Emblem was my favorite game.
Okay.
Wow.
this year.
Oh, wow.
To me, this is the toughest of the three.
Or Animal Crossing.
The three that we're putting up tonight.
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah, and as much as honestly, like everything Sam said about Zelda 1, everything both of you said about Zelda 1, like I adore. And Link to the Past is one of those rare games that I play every year, and I still find new things, and I still find new ways to admire it. But I'm going 3D just because the way the series was willing to take risks throughout 3D. Especially in a couple ways, from Ocarina to Majora's Mask. And Majora's Mask is my favorite Zelda game of all time.
Wow, you and
Just-
Colin Moriarty.
Yeah,
It's true. It's
just
true.
because it's insane.
You didn't get a lot of claps for that.
No, I got a really strong woo from the corner, and that's like worth 2,000
I'm with
claps.
you on
So
that. Zelda,
yeah.
Majora's Mask is amazing.
yeah,
That's great, yeah.
It does something really crazy. The way it plays with time, the way it plays with just like a sense of a community that evolves over 3
The
days.
way it messes with you. You
Yes.
start the game and you're Link, and then in 10 minutes you're not.
Yeah,
It's
and I
a
find
fucking
it-
shrub.
And then suddenly all your rupees are gone.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I
and
find
then
that
there's this creepy man with
awesome.
masks.
Yeah, that sounds really fun, you guys.
You can just go play Link's Awakening.
I
over
will,
there
fine,
with your
forever.
buddy,
Good.
your fiance.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, I know the way.
DX, you mean? Link's
Yeah.
Awakening DX.
No, I like the original because we'll not get into it. We'll talk about
Because
it.
because
Thank
you
you.
can
Somebody
yes,
else
you can
moved.
you can break out of the wall.
Yes,
sprint.
that's exactly
Yeah,
why.
I
Like the
agree.
Kool-Aid Man? Wait, what?
It's really cool. Yeah, there's a glitch where you can kind of just walk outside walls and then you can walk around anywhere on the map.
And when they put that game in color for the first time, it felt like watching it was like a black and white movie that was in color, and it just didn't feel right.
All right. I wanna
Remember
go
when
back
that
to
guy was in
Marty.
love with a goat in that game?
Yes.
All right, hang
We've
on.
all been
I
scared.
want Marty to finish his thought. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, so the jump to Majora's Mask, just insane. The artistic risk taken with Wind Waker. And Wind Waker HD
Wind
is
Waker's
one of the
so
most
good.
gorgeous games ever. Seriously, and that game will never that game
forever
is
be
timeless.
gorgeous. That's right, yeah.
Absolutely timeless. So my big thing is, and I'm not a big Skyward Sword fan, but I'm really hoping that whatever the next 3D Wii U Zelda game is, that Nintendo is willing to take that risk. And I don't know whether it's have it be the Legend of Zelda, have it be the Legend of Link, and you play as Zelda.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's
Folks have been talking
Yeah,
about
that'd be
that.
awesome.
we brought it up as a joke on the podcast, but what if you didn't have a sword for a lot of the game?
There was the CDI game called
you don't
Zelda's
want that.
Adventure.
No.
which
The elevator's
wasn't-
over there, pair. You can just take it down to the first floor.
It's very bad.
leave. Yeah.
But
I'm tired of people slandering those games. They're cool.
Wand of Gamelon was cool.
Yes.
I have them. Next time we should hook them up. They're absolutely
Oh, we can play them
awful.
with a
my
live
desk.
audience?
So
That'd be
bad.
amazing.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
They were not made by Nintendo. They're really bad.
Yeah.
So what you were saying about both Majora's Mask and then Ocarina of Time, like I always felt that when you look back now, they introduced some gameplay elements that are now very commonplace and we take for granted, right? Like the feel of riding a horse. Like, that didn't exist before that game, right? Like now you can play games like Eco and the horse is like the crazy horse that never does what I want to do.
We do that horse
But
one
like,
more time?
But like no.
Yeah, one more time.
But you know, you play Skyrim, all these games let you ride around. Ocarina really was the first game to do that in a 3D world. And
Oh,
made
okay.
It,
I'm
made
glad
it
you
feel
clarified
so
that.
good.
Because
right?
before that, you said that you made it sound like they invented riding a horse.
Yeah, no, there were no horses in the world anywhere. And then, you know, there are all these other 3D elements that we take for granted. For example, you know, they looked at the controller and they said, oh, crap, we don't have enough buttons, right? So they got rid of the jump, which, you know, when you compare it to the older Zelda games, not a big deal, right? Zelda 2, you could jump, but not in the other games. But the moment you play a 3D game, you kind of feel like you want to be able to jump that fence, and they took that out. And I think it's a huge risk, and it took people a while to really understand, you know, how you get around. But it's so brilliant when you
Yeah,
think
no, it's
about
awesome.
it now.
Yeah. And
So
Z-
let us not forget it has the best soundtrack out of any Zelda game.
That's
by
not
far. And
true.
it's all about
That's
music.
not true, though.
Oh, come on, it's about
I would give
music.
that to A Link Between Worlds. A Link Between Worlds.
Sam,
has
I
a
know.
great-
Whoa.
Yeah,
Between
has the best
Worlds.
soundtrack.
Shots fired.
So I do want to say this though, or I do want to make this point. It's interesting though that when Zelda and Mario both went 3D, I feel like Mario didn't hold your hand, but Zelda did because part of it was an adventure, and they wanted to make sure that you saw everything along the way. Whereas in Mario, it's a big playground that you got to jump around in instead. And it wasn't about direction. I mean, you can talk to someone in Mario who'll tell you where to go, but it's not like the fairy who stops you every couple of seconds. It's Brian's bookie fairy who says, "Hey,
we gotta go see that tree. Come on.
exactly." So I just
wanna
find it
talk
kind of
Saria?
interesting that one game held on to the exploration and being open, and if anything, opened up more, and the other sort of retracted instead and became more focused.
Sure.
Wow,
and
that was
wanted
really,
to
yeah,
send you-
really well put.
Yeah. So it's interesting that happened in my mind. But my vote, Wind Waker is my favorite game of all time, and I can't ignore that. As much as I want to say 2D Zeldas are better, I will never forget like sailing through that ocean and like being a part of that world and the way it sort of unfolds. And even though part of it is guided, it's still really fun to sort of explore. And if anything, out of all the 3D Zeldas, I feel like it's one of the ones that's less guided. It's less about telling you where to go as much.
sure.
Although you have a stone that someone can communicate to you through telepathy, or you have a boat that gets kind of moody and says, "Hey." Yeah,
So
exactly.
is the definitive version HD?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Just because of everything that they improved and fixed in it, I absolutely
Do
think
you
so.
like the Swift sail?
Huh?
Do you like the Swift sail?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it was a really good move.
So wait,
yeah.
I want the same question that you asked before.
What?
If Nintendo announces Zelda tomorrow,
Okay. If
Yeah.
it's done that,
What do you want it to be?
Zelda tomorrow. What do you want to be? You kick it off.
holy
No, he's
crap!
asking
No,
you.
start with Pear.
3D.
He's an elder.
3D, of course.
You want the Zelda Wii U demo? That's what you want?
Yeah, I'd love that. You know what? Honestly, if they came out and they said, "Here's a sequel to Wind Waker," and it used that art style, and the water has receded, and go at it, I would be so happy.
Okay.
I'd love a game like that. But I feel like in order for the Wii U to get to a bigger audience, you kind of have to go with that like graphically impressive game.
Yeah.
Something that is more like people get it. They're like,
Sure.
"Oh, it's a cartoon."
Can I ask a question to the room real quick? Why does everybody want like a gritty, realistic Zelda?
Yeah, I don't understand that
Wait,
either.
does the room want that? Yes or boo? Yes? No?
Oh, this was a bad idea. I'm sorry.
Everybody started yelling. All right, Sam, what about you?
I agree with him about art style, but I really think that Zelda should be Skyrim. That captures the essence of the Legend of Zelda.
But with
you
bad
go out
combat
into
in
a giant
Skyrim's
world.
case.
I don't care. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have to be a gritty, Arctic environment, but it needs to be a giant open world, the most technologically impressive game on the market, which is going to be a hard thing to do now, and it needs to meet these like kind of requirements of having a big area to explore where you don't expect anything, and it doesn't tell you
Dark
where to
Souls
go.
2.
Yeah, exactly. No, other games are doing this,
Friendly. No one's your friend. in
but
Dark
Zelda
Souls
did that originally.
That is Zelda
I-
1, yeah.
And that's what Zelda did. Even through Ocarina, I think that was a big focus of that series, and
Right.
I don't know why it's not that now. I wish it was.
All right, Brian? Zelda announced tomorrow, 2D, 3D.
3D.
Oh, how funny.
It's only because we just got a really awesome 2D Zelda game. Otherwise, I would be like 2D forever. But we just got a really awesome 2D one. We also got a really awesome 3D one last year, but it was a remake. But I want a new Zelda game, and I want it to be like Ocarina because I want something that is kind of cartoony. I don't want a gritty, realistic Zelda game because I think the second you start introducing like reality into that world, the less that world makes sense. Right? Like in Fallout, 5 minutes in, they're like, oh, you're carrying too many things. Put all that stuff down. In Zelda, you have like 200 bombs in your pocket. So 5 minutes in, they'd be like, you have 200 bombs? Are you crazy? Put those down. Walk away. Wait, you have 4 swords? What are you, nuts? So I want a 3D Zelda, but I want it to be cartoony. I want like something like Wind Waker, but obviously not exactly like that. I want something familiar, but also a little bit new. So basically, I'm every awful Zelda fan that will never be happy.
All right.
And it should only take place over 3 days.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Marty. It's on you.
Everything that Brian just said, except that I want the one gameplay crux that's just the weirdest shit ever. Like, honestly, I don't think I'm supposed to say that word.
We got kids in the audience.
Yeah,
now.
I know. I wasn't supposed to say that word.
It's okay, they're my kids. All
Okay,
of them.
that's you hear a lot worse. I don't.
That's like the one word
in
every
German.
kid heard, too. They're all playing their 3D. It's like,
Yeah, I want the next Majora's Mask tweak. I want Nintendo to do what Nintendo does and wow me. Like, do something that Sony's not going to do. Microsoft's not going to do. They're not going to take that risk. They're not going to be that smart. Like, do something that's just going to blow me out of the water.
Yeah.
I really want a game where I play Zelda.
You know, I think
Zelda.
they tried. If you look at Skyward Sword, and like the opinions differ on that title, right?
Clearly.
They created an overworld that was in the
Link was a
clouds,
girl
right?
in
Like,
that
I mean, think of other games that have that. Well, there aren't any, right? You had a battle on your bird against this giant flying dragon. Like, it had all this variety. You fought that weird, like, scaly, like, soft toe monster and stuff.
great.
Like, it was like a Miyazaki cartoon,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I thought they tried a lot of cool stuff,
They
but
did.
it didn't quite work.
Wait, a
in the end,
Miyazaki
right?
cartoon or a really bad Godzilla movie?
No, like a Miyazaki anime.
Thin line.
well,
Very thin.
Spirit Tracks let you play as Zelda, right? But she was dead.
She was dead.
It's like, great, thanks, guys.
Hey, the puzzles in that game were awesome.
No,
You
they
take
were-
that back.
they were great.
You take that back. Step off.
All I said was she was dead. That's a fact.
Legend of Zelda Choo Choo Train. Jose loves it.
All right. So, audience, tomorrow Nintendo announces a new Zelda 2D. Yeah. All right. Couple people. 3D.
Wow.
The 3Ds have it. I hope they're listening. Nintendo, do that. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and Eric's going to give away some codes, and when we come back, our final game, 2D versus 3D, Metroid.
I thought it was Adventures of Lolo.